Hey guys, Mike here. So, but what another fun day in the market? More red, more volatility, more tariff exemptions. And so that was a good thing to pump us up, but then just sold us right back off. But there were two really big things that happened today, which we're going to cover. We're also going to talk about seasonality because remember, April is supposed to be a great month for the stock market. It's supposed to turn in March and head up in April and have a great month. But there is a caveat. And I told you about this yesterday. I was going to cover it today for you guys. So I went behind the curtain. Actually looked at the charts from 2000 forward of when this anomaly happens, and I'll explain to you why, and it'll make total sense. And that way you'll be prepared if it does happen. I personally hope it doesn't, but if it does, if you're a bear, you definitely want it to happen. There's no doubt about that. Also, understand what's going on. I get these questions all the time. Tomorrow, I'm going to answer your question in tomorrow's video, obviously. That's where I answer questions at. But we'll discuss, somebody asked a big one, like what's the difference between a correction and a crash, or how can you tell on the charts? And I'll talk about that, okay? But more importantly, you're seeing announcements come out or rumors or whatever they are, come out, reports come out saying, that President Trump is trying to, or basically not trying, but limiting Elon Musk's ability to fire people. There's a reason for that. All these exemptions are starting to roll through. There's a reason for that. He meets with a bunch of business leaders on Monday to talk about what? Tariffs. There's a reason for that. And so, again, we're going to see where all this is going. But right now, the market is trying to price all this in. That's really what it's trying to do. It's just trying to figure out what's going on. There's so much uncertainty because, again, we're in an experiment. We haven't seen anybody come through, put a private citizen in charge of the government, start firing people and canceling contracts, and had any president come in and say, I'm going to shrink the budget by X amount or whatever. It's been a long time. We ain't had a balanced budget since 1999. And so, again, the market's sitting there going, oh, and the thing is, we all know we need to balance the budget. But the things that I've said that I've been saying for 2 years, the things it would take to do it is going to be a lot of suffering to do it. There's just no way you can pull that much liquidity out of the market and not have a major effect, right? And so that's what the market is trying to do at this point in time. And we're going to see, because right now, as you'll see in the charts, is this thing primed for a bounce? Absolutely, it's primed for a bounce. But there's three things that really got to happen for this to take place, and I'll talk to you about that in this video. Now, we did have the market sell off at 1:30 a.m. last night, and 2 a.m. in the futures market, and I think I figured out what it was, by the way. I think it started in Germany, something they're doing right now, and it sent ripple waves through the bond market, and I think it spooked, obviously, the stock market or futures, and they sold us down, okay? And so I'm going to talk to you about that. If you happen to be from Europe, please kind of educate us in the comments about what you guys are doing over there. So let's start off with that, and then we'll get into the news, seasonality, and all the charts you guys asked me about. Because I put this in the morning news brief, was the index is red so far after the future sold down at 2 a.m. this morning. The only thing I could find is what Germany's doing, okay? So I think they actually changed their constitution to do this, but they're going to be issuing a lot of debt because they're going to increase by hundreds of billions their defense and infrastructure spending. And so, of course, the bond market is global, right? And so that kind of shook things up. And after that, things went down. That's really the only thing I could find because you saw yields just jumping in all these different countries and stuff like that. Our yields were jumping. And so that's the only thing I could find. If you found something different, let me know, because China had put out a statement yesterday that wouldn't affect at 2 a.m. at all, about how they were, ready to, they ain't gonna be bullied when it comes to tariffs, and they'll stand up and blah, 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 and do their stuff. But, this is the only thing I could really find on here. So let me know if you found anything different. Now, I'm going to go ahead and put the news up front. We do got big news coming out tomorrow. Average hourly earnings month over month, non-farm employment change, the unemployment rate. And then you got not only Fed Chair Powell speaking, you got Trump speaking too. So I don't know when because they're all tentative. But yeah, so that's going to be a fun day tomorrow. Now, seasonality, we know the SPY usually turns up around, anywhere from March 7th to March 15th and has a really good April. And you can see the VIX here, right, which is really high right now. It spikes during this time because, of course, the market's falling. Now, with this right here, it says years following S&P 500 with greater than 20% see a weak tax window performance. That's the April time frame, right? That's the deadline where you got to get all your taxes in and stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, let's look at this, because you can see the regular seasonality above it is what I just showed you. It's actually pretty dang good. But the April, according to this, isn't good when you have these big seasons. And so when I pull this up, you can see we'll just go back and look, right? 2024, 2023, just some of the most unbelievable years, right? 2021, 27%, 2019, 29%, 2013, 29% right there. If we keep scrolling back, you got 2003, 27%, So, you know, those years, then what we're doing is looking at the year after that. And you can go back before this if you want to. I'm not going back that far, but again, there were some years there as well. And so we go back and look at 2024 after 2023 had a great year, and they're right? April was not good. I mean, even going up through May, like it was rough. Okay, so that one holds to be true on that one. So that one holds to be true. 2022 we haven't crashed. So of course, April was skewed, right? Because we're literally in the middle of a crash. You go over here to 2020, because 2019 was a big year, right? Well, of course, we're coming out of a crash. This is a theme, by the way. We're coming out of a crash. So guess what? Things are going to be good. All right, so that skews the data as well. Instead of bad, it was good. Now, SPX, when you look right here on 2014, we weren't coming out of a crash, and you can see, but 2013 was really good, and you can see April, I mean, it wasn't that good, right? I mean, you go up through May, it was rough. Wasn't like it was crazy, but it was rough. All right, so then we go to 2010. Of course, you can see right here, there's April right there, and started going up pretty good April, and then fell off a cliff. Of course, you know, what were we doing? We were coming out of a crash because 2009, the market bottomed, right? So that's 2010. Then you're sitting with 2004's April. Again, not good, okay? Basically flat if you look at it, but pretty rough. Now, of course, what happened the year before? We bottomed in 2003. That's why you see such a huge year. Why 2009 has such a huge year? Because it bottomed from a massive recession and crash right there. Okay, so the theory is behind it. It's very simple. Coming out of a big year, what's going to happen? If you're that far up, a lot of people are going to have some tax bills. A lot of big tax bills. The rich and everybody else. Everybody's going to have big tax bills to pay, which is a good thing, not a bad thing, because, I mean, you had a great year, right? I'd rather have a higher tax bill off a great year than have a horrific year and go, I ain't got no tax to pay because I lost so much money. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the theory kind of behind why that is. And so it makes sense. And so it's just something to really watch out for and watch for that weakness. Watch for that weakness. Now, Broadcom here, finally, I put this stuff out every day. Finally, to see a forecast that actually beats what they expected is nice to see, because I've been seeing so many forecasts that just aren't meeting what the market expects and stuff, and all these sell-offs that are happening. So we'll see if this can save the market. I think it's up way up after hours, even more than this after I'm recording this. But what was it doing? Can't even make this stuff up. Sitting at the 200 for 3 straight days. Look at that. Just rode that 200 up. This thing was in a major discount. I don't care where you draw the fib from. Major discount, any which way you shape it, bouncing off the 200. And we're way down right now. Everything's way down. So yes, you should get a huge pop if you beat your forecast and beat your top and bottom line. So we'll see if this is going to pull up, if these gains are going to hold. A lot of this depends on probably the data tomorrow, but we'll see. But again, what's the need to save? Socks. You do not want to fall below that level right there. That's set in August. You don't want to fall below that level. I've showed you guys. That will drag the market down even further. You do not want that if you're a bull. Just FYI, TLT did fill that gap, got a bounce. We'll see if that's the bottom of TLT right there. 10-year yield has been rallying and stuff, and if it continues to rally, TLT should feel pressure. But right now, a lot of people moved in right there at that moment. Now, looking at the market clearly, you can see this is when the market opened at 4 a.m., just started selling down. Then right here it is. One of the people in Trump's administration puts out, hey, we're going to go ahead and make more exemptions on these tariffs. So boom, rally up, end up hitting that target. Bam, and end up just selling right back off. And even in the middle of this, somebody tried to reverberate that news. It didn't matter. Still went down, finally touched a 200 officially on this. And of course, we're running up in after hours because of AVGO. And so we'll see if that's going to hold. Again, despite everything's in major discounts. So this is when you usually will see a run. When you're getting these major discounts, if we can hold. All we got to do is see this right here, guys. You got to get above the 5-day moving average. Told you about this yesterday when it got rejected. So you got to have that one. That's a check, 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 okay? You got to get above it, and you got to have this thing curling up so we can ride it up just like a surfboard, okay? That's what's got to happen on that right there. What else do you got to happen? This is kind of cherry on the cake, though. You got to get above into positive gamma. We have been in negative gamma for quite a while now, and as long as that is the case, that's why you're seeing this right here. Up and down. Can't hold gains, blah, 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 blah. You know, it's just, right now it's a scalper's paradise. That's what this is, okay? Scalpers are really loving life. They don't want us to get above there, most likely. And then lastly, you got to have that VIX come down, man. It is way too high right now, up in the 20s. And so you got to see this thing start to shoot down and at least getting somewhere in the teens. If we can do that, then we can finally have some kind of sustained rally. But it's hard when you're sitting above that white line right there. That's just the way it is. So you need that to happen. If all those boxes gets checked, you can have a nice, decent rally. Where that rally goes, that's what we're going to find out. Okay, there's too much uncertainty right now. Again, here's QQQ. It closed below the 200. I'm assuming if the green holds overnight, then obviously this will get above the 200 again. But it did come down to the November election day. Dow's already revisited that once, but it's still not down to 200 right here, as you can see. But it has already came down and bounced right there off that November date, election date right there. When you look over here at the RSP, you can see this right here is holding on to the 200. So so many things, that's what I'm saying. Everything, so many things are sitting on the 200 or right below it. QQW is right below it, you know, and so either you're going to get a nice little bounce. Again, if these things start breaking the 200 moving average, it can get worse. But right now, it seems to be setting up at least for a relief rally. You would think at this point in time, if the administration doesn't tweet anything else anymore, if Elon Musk doesn't fire anybody right now, that the market will say, okay, let's at least have a relief rally, especially if this job data comes in. If the job data comes in horrible, forget about it, okay? But, you know, you look at Tesla, this one right here, look at this right here. I got to bring the weeklies on here now. This thing here has been such a mess. But look at all this confluence right here, man. This area, again, it's in that little gap right there. But, you know, anywhere from like 245 to 262 or whatever it is, you got the 100 weekly, the 50 weekly, and I think even maybe the 200 there as well, maybe, and all that sitting there. So again, that's a lot of confluence be in that area right there. Palantir will go with some high flyers that have been beat down. That's in an area where normally you get to see a bounce. Uber has held up really well compared to a lot of stocks here. Okay, and it's holding pretty firm right there. And you see the 50 moving averages coming up. 100's kind of flattened out right now, needs to turn up, but this one's held up relatively well compared to a lot of other stocks. Oklo, good Lord, look at this thing. Woo, boy. Man, I mean, it's giving back so many gains. Not quite all of them for the year, but pretty darn close. And then you look at Hershey's, who knew? Buy chocolate. things get tough. Buy chocolate. Hims is another one. I mean, how many times you hear people when it's up at 70, 75 saying, should I take profits? I hope they did. And again, it finally came down to this box I had marked out a while back, 2 or 3 weeks ago or something. That don't mean that's support. It just doesn't. Remember we were talking about where's the support? Where's the support? It didn't really have support. That's why it fell off a cliff, right? And where that shaded box is, that's not really support. That's turning resistance into support. But support's really between 25, 30 area maybe. So that's what you're looking at on that one. Very popular one. A lot of these are popular retail stocks that I asked about. That's why I'm covering these. App 11, somebody just asked about this one. Good Lord. Down 50% in 23 days. And I mean, this thing right here, I believe it went up 700 and something percent from this point right here. I mean, what is it? Yeah, 738% in 192 days and dropped 50% in 23 days in a discount. But guess what? There's a gap below. Got this trend line over here, if you even want to call that trend line support. And, you know, I don't know, let me see the moving averages here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the 200 somewhere down that area in that gap. So can this one continue to fall? Yeah, these are high flyers. I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, this is another one of those low float and all, you know, highly shorted stocks and stuff. So anywhere from like 175 is that up to 200, you know. But it can keep coming down. I mean, we just got to see what's going to happen here. And just because you get a bounce don't mean that's the bounce to where everybody piles back into it. All right. First of all, the Max 7 got to get in love before these stocks will get some love. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, hope you guys got some out of it. Put any questions you have for Saturday's video in there. I'll end up seeing you guys tomorrow for that. And then Sunday to set the week, which will be a really fun one. Please hit the like, subscribe button on your way out. Think about signing up for the membership. Less than McDonald's combo. And I will see you guys tomorrow.